Hello, welcome to Ulu's Coffee Break. Today we have Amanda Lowe from the University at Albany Libraries to talk about helping students deal with stress in your academic library. So I'm not going to waste your time. I'm just going to go ahead and hand it over. Here you go, Amanda.
Hi, everyone. I hope everyone has coffee and they're ready to listen about how to have your students stress less about finals at your academic library. As Lauren said, I'm here at University at Albany Libraries. I've been here since the fall of 2014 when UAlbany actually put on their first Stress Less at UAlbany Libraries event. I had about 2 weeks to prepare this, and I'll kind of walk you through how I went through my thought process on a lot of things and what it meant to me to help students stress less about finals and how that's very important in an academic situation. So first, I just like to talk about how there's library as information center and library as space. These are two different things. A lot of people don't think about it, but I spend a lot of my time looking at research on this. Library as information center, this is using the reference services, using the books, using the databases, having the students come here work on their homework. Library as space is what we see more during finals times or even midterms. Students are using our group study room spaces that you see on the right-hand side. They're using those in abundance. Those are always filled here at our libraries. They're using our group study spaces and our collaborative areas. They're not really seeking our books or our databases necessarily. They're just coming for a place to study for their exams, out of their dorms, something that maybe is a little bit quieter or somewhere they can be noisy, within reason, of course, and use space. So you may be asking yourself when you're thinking about setting up these programs, what would Scooby do? What would my favorite Captain Picard do? Or even what would Sherlock Holmes do? These people are probably, or animals, are probably not going to have your answers. So of course you're going to think, what would your users do? And your users, of course, here are your students. What are they going to like? What is going to help them be less stressed out about all these finals, papers, and presentations that they have? I have here some pictures from my very first and second stress less, that's what we call it here. Other universities call it stress-free zones. This is something that does exist in other universities, but usually you don't see it in the library to this extent. You'll see it in health and wellness programs. You'll see libraries, hand out some snacks or have some puzzle spaces, but here at the library at the University of Albany, I've been really on top of promoting late night usage for stress less activities. All the events you see here have taken place after 10 o'clock at night, with the exception of this little guy down here. Our therapy dogs are only available during the day, and our big hit, we're going to be doing that for the, I believe, third time this semester, and we had over 13 handlers. It's a lot of fun. But you see, this is a wide array of activities. We had the Gamers Guild came in and they played some games. We made stress balls. We had some television from the 90s, early 2000s going on, floor yoga, puzzles, and coloring and cookies. So I'll get a little bit more into that. So how do you figure out what your students want? That's a very loaded question. You have a whole bunch of different, depending on the size of your university, you're going to have a whole bunch of different students from a whole bunch of different backgrounds that have different stresses. There's no way that you can assume what they actually want, unless you're a Vulcan and you can mind meld like in this picture here. Then it'd be simple, but unfortunately it's not that simple. But really, you have to ask yourself a couple questions. You have to know your population. Who are you serving? Is it just the undergraduates? Do you have graduates using your stress less programs? Do you have faculty members or staff coming in? Probably not that late at night as I have it, but we do have some graduate students that take advantage of some of the things that I offer. But it's mainly undergraduate students that are in here using our services that late at night. and will take the time to even what they call it procrastination, but I call it just taking time out to better their bodies and minds by just taking like 5 or 10 minutes to relax. Ask questions. Ask your students that you see, your student employees. Ask their friends. Just casually walk around the library and be like, hey, what do you want to see us do here? Are you interested in having Zumba in the library? Are you into things like indoor grass? I think like Cornell or one of the other universities in the state does that. Do you want a bed? Ask a whole bunch of questions and do some research. Like I said, there's other universities that are doing these things, but you really don't know what's out there until you start to look what other universities are doing and talk to other librarians that might be holding these programs. They might have some really awesome ideas. I know a lot of things that I've come up with were not from my own brain. There are things I asked around about because a lot of times there's trial and error with these things, and if you know someone who's already done them, it can make your programs go a little bit smoother. So research is really important. In this picture here, I actually, during that, is this dress, I think it was gold or blue, I brought out a whiteboard because a lot of students were talking about it in the building. And we had a tally, and it was a really popular thing. It sparked conversation at late night. And it just really brought a whole bunch of people into the conversation that, we could be a little silly too here, and we'll get into the mainstream of what's going on the internet with the memes. And the students just really relaxed, and we had a good laugh that night. Now, excuse my telephone. The planning phase is what you go to next once you decide you're going to actually have these events. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Amanda. I'm sorry, I'm hosting a webinar right now. I'm sorry. All right. I'll be there. All right. I have to go. All right. Sorry about that. I had to answer my phone, or else it would have kept on ringing. So now the planning phase, what you're going to do is, you're going to ask yourself, what am I calling this event? We went over a lot of different things. There are other campus events that go on during finals. We call it stress less week here because we didn't want to have stress-free zone, which we don't want to confuse people, and we want them to know that the library is hosting this event and it's not the Health and Wellness Center or the residence halls. There could be a whole bunch of other events going on campus, and you want a clear name that's going to associate it with the university libraries. What is possible for you to even do? You don't want to be afraid to think outside the box. This poster here was from the very first Stress Less event that I held. I had 2 weeks to plan it. It was right after I was hired here. And I tried to think outside the box with some things, like video games. We brought in our Gamers Guild here on campus, which kind of ties in with the form partnerships on and off campus. Do you have groups on campus that would be interested in helping you out? This also just forms goodwill with your institution, with people on campus that are organizations, or even off campus if you want to bring in someone like an instructor if you can afford it or if it's allowed. We did this time to get crafty thing right here. We made rice-filled stress balls, which at the time was possible. It was allowed. We got approval for it, and then found out afterwards that it made a huge mess. A lot of people were not happy about that. There was rice tracked throughout the library, and we decided that in the future it probably wouldn't be a good idea. So it might not be something that we're doing again, but we tried it, and students liked it. Maybe we can look at ways that we can replan that and try it another way. So don't be afraid to think outside the box. Set a timeline and stick to it. There's a lot of planning components that go into this. I suggest starting early in the semester if you're going to do anything like this for finals. It might seem like overkill, but it's not. You have things that you need to schedule, like when we plan for the therapy dogs to come, their spots fill up really quick because there's quite a few universities or other institutions around the area that also want the therapy dogs during the time we have finals. So it's good to book that as soon as possible and start figuring out, okay, where are these people going to park? Where are we going to hold the event that fits, X amount of dogs and handlers? It's going to be popular, so we're going to want to have it in a big space. So that's something you're going to want to put early on your timeline. And then from there, your budgeting, your marketing, and how you're going to, get out the information to the students that it's happening. As I said, form partnerships, get approval if needed for things like if you're going to have bubble blowing. It's something that we plan on doing this semester. Obviously, you're going to want to get approval ahead of time if you plan on doing it inside the building. Is it going to cause, soap stains somewhere? Is it going to be a mess? Does other people have to get involved? That kind of thing. You're going to want to budget appropriately for these events. If you need catering, we do coffee breaks or other sorts of things. And then marketing, like this is a first flyer I ever did and it didn't come out that well, but now I know for the future and I have contacts within our marketing committee to make better flyers that aren't so wordy and that really bring home what we're doing here. Next, after you hold your events or during your events, you're going to want to observe them if possible. If you can be there, if you're there late at night like I was, see what's going on, participate in the events if you can. You want to count the participants, hand out surveys or comment cards to gain feedback from the students to see what they liked. Ask questions to the people who are participating. Ask questions to the people who aren't participating. See why they're not. It's not something they liked or they're too busy to do things. And of course, listen to everything that you're hearing because these are the people that you're gearing the programs towards, and you want to make sure you're getting as much feedback as possible from them. Afterwards, you're going to want to do some assessment. What worked? What didn't work? How can it be done better next time? What can I do next semester? And start planning then, make it bigger each time. That was our goal here. And students are really getting involved with it, and they're starting to expect it as we're doing it, which is great. And that's kind of like the goal here. Again, like if you have any questions about how you can set something up at your institution like this, I would love to talk with anyone about it. I love programming. This is the 4th semester I'm doing it here at UAlbany, and I really, really enjoy it, and I love talking about it. So send me an email, and I will help you brainstorm. If you're in a smaller institution and you have more restrictions, we'll see if we can find some workarounds for some things or things that would be possible to do at your institution. I just really love to talk, so please send me an email. If you send me an email and you want to talk on the phone, I can give you my phone number here as well. And thank you for listening. It's been a pleasure chatting with you all.
Thanks, Amanda. I kind of wish UAlbany had all that stuff when I was in high school and sneaking in during our finals, but that was a while ago. So thank you so much. It's been great to have you here. And if you're watching and you're interested, you can subscribe down underneath, leave a comment, share it with people, all of that fun stuff. So we'll see you in 2 weeks for our next one, and we'll be announcing our next batch of spring coffee breaks within the next week or so. Thanks. Bye.